Chapter 1 Meow and the Mouse. It was a beautiful morning on the farm. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and the cows were mooing. Meow, the little cat, stretched out in her basket with relish. She was still young and full of energy. She always wanted to experience something new and was not afraid of the unknown. Today, she had decided to explore the barn. There were definitely many exciting things to discover there. Meow jumped out of her basket and ran to the barn. She pushed the door open with her paw and peered inside. It was dark and dusty, but Meow was undeterred. She bravely padded into the barn and looked around. There were bales of hay, tools, boxes, and barrels everywhere. Meow sniffed curiously at everything that came under her nose. Suddenly she heard a low squeak behind a hay bale. Meow pricked up his ears and crept closer. A little mouse was sitting behind the hay bale, nibbling on a grain. Meow was excited. She had never seen a mouse, but she knew cats like to catch mice. That had to be a great game. Meow decided to surprise and catch the mouse. She ducked behind the hay bale and waited for the right moment. When the mouse looked up briefly, Meow jumped out and landed right in front of the mouse. "Ha! I got you!" Meow shouted triumphantly. The mouse got scared and tried to run away, but Meow was faster. She grabbed the mouse with her paw and held it tight. "Please let me go," the mouse begged anxiously. "But why? That's a fun game," Meow said in surprise. "Maybe for you, but not for me." "You want to eat me," said the mouse. "Eat? No, I don't want that. I just want to play," Meow said. "I don't believe you. You're a cat and I'm a mouse. Cats eat mice." "That's nature," said the mouse. "Nature? What is that?" Meow asked. That's, oh, you can't understand that. You're a stupid cat," said the offended mouse. "Hey, that's not nice. I'm not stupid. I'm very smart," Meow said, hurt. "Then prove it." "Set me free," said the mouse. "But then you're gone and I can't play with you anymore," Meow said. "Then find another playmate. One who is also a cat," said the mouse. "But I don't know any other cats. You're my first friend," Meow said. "Friend? I'm not your friend. I'm your enemy." "Let go of me," said the mouse. Meow was sad. She didn't want an enemy, she wanted a friend. She didn't want to hurt anyone, she just wanted to have fun. She looked at the mouse and realized how scared she was. Meow suddenly felt guilty. She opened her paw and let go of the mouse. "You can go," she said quietly. The mouse couldn't believe her ears. She couldn't believe the cat released her. She hesitated, then ran out of the barn as fast as she could. "Thank you," she called over her shoulder. Meow looked after her and sighed. She was lonely and disappointed. She had hoped to make a friend, but instead she had made an enemy. She wondered if it really had to be that cats and mice couldn't get along. She wished it were different. Chapter 2 Meow Meets a Dog. Meow was very excited. Today she was allowed to drive into town with the farmer for the first time. She had heard a lot about the city, but never seen it. She imagined how many new things there were to discover. Maybe she would even meet other cats who could tell her about their adventures. The farmer packed his things in the trunk of his car and called out Meow. "Come on, Meow, get in. We're going." Meow jumped into the passenger seat and buckled up. She was very proud that she could already do that. The farmer started the engine and drove off. The ride was very exciting for Meow. She saw many houses, cars, people, and animals. She pressed her nose to the window and watched everything curiously. Sometimes she meowed loudly when she found something particularly interesting. After a while, they arrived in town. The farmer parked his car in front of a large building with a sign that said, "Veterinarian." "We have to get in here for a moment, Meow," he said. "I have to have you checked to see if you're healthy." Meow was a little nervous. She didn't like it when someone touched her. But she trusted the farmer and obediently followed him. Many other animals were already sitting in the waiting room with their owners. Meow saw a parrot, a turtle, a hamster, and a rabbit. She thought they were all very funny and wanted to play with them. But the farmer held her tightly on his lap and said, "Shut up, Meow. We're almost there." Suddenly, Meow heard a loud bark. She turned and saw a large dog tugging at a man's leash. The dog had brown fur, black spots, and pointed teeth. He looked very angry and growled at Meow. Meow was startled and hissed back. She had never seen a dog and found him very creepy. The man tried to calm the dog. "Rex, shut up. It's just a cat. It won't hurt you." But the dog ignored him and kept barking. He really wanted to go to Meow and hunt her down. Meow was frightened and clung to the pawn. She wanted away from the dog. She wondered why the dog was so angry and what he wanted from her. The farmer stroked Meow reassuringly. "Don't worry, Meow," he said. "The dog can't hurt you. He's just jealous because you're so beautiful." He smiled at Meow and kissed her forehead. Meow felt a little better, but still not well. She hoped it would be their turn soon, and they could go home. Chapter 3: The Bird. Meow was very happy when she looked out the window one morning and saw a beautiful blue sky. She jumped out of her basket and ran to the door to go outside. Today, she really wanted to climb the big tree that was next to the farm. There she had often seen and heard colorful birds singing songs to her. Meow was fascinated by the birds and wanted to learn more about them. She quickly ran across the meadow and reached the tree. She looked up and saw a small red bird perched on a branch. He chirped happily to himself. Meow thought he was very handsome and friendly. She decided to greet him. She jumped onto the lowest branch and carefully climbed higher. The bird noticed her and looked down at her curiously. "Hi, I'm Meow," said the cat. "Who are you?" "Hello, Meow," replied the bird. "I'm Rudy. I'm a robin." "Robin?" Meow repeated. "That's a nice name. And what are you doing here?" "I live here," said Rudy. "This tree is my home. I build my nest here, find my food here, and sing my songs here." "That sounds great," Meow said. "May I help you build a nest?" "No thanks," Rudy said. "I can do it myself. Besides, you're a cat. Cats are dangerous to birds." "But I'm not dangerous," Meow said. "I'm your girlfriend. I don't want to hurt you." "That's what all cats say," said Rudy. "But then they want to eat us or catch us." "That's not true," Meow said. "I'm different from other cats. I don't eat meat, only vegetables and fruit. And I don't catch animals, only flowers and butterflies." "I don't believe you," said Rudy. "You're still a cat. And I'm a bird. We're enemies." "We don't have to be enemies," Meow said. "We can be friends. We have a lot in common. We're both small, red, and cute." "You're not red," said Rudy. "Yes, a little," Meow said, pointing to her nose. "That's not red, that's pink," said Rudy. "But it's almost the same," Meow said. "No, it's not," said Rudy. "Yes, it is," said Meow. The two argued for a while before realizing there was no point. They were silent and looked at each other. Meow sighed. She really wanted Rudy as a boyfriend, but he didn't seem to trust her. Rudy shrugged his shoulders. He thought Meow was cute, but he was afraid of her. They didn't know what to do. Chapter 4: The Deer in the Forest. Meow has always been fascinated by the large, green forest that lay behind the farm. She had often heard that there were many different animals that she had never seen before. One day, she decided to go on an adventure and explore the forest. She slipped out of the house when her humans were having breakfast and ran across the meadow to the edge of the forest. She felt the fresh air blowing in her face and heard the birds chirping. She felt free and happy. She carefully walked between the trees and looked around curiously. She saw squirrels jumping from branch to branch, rabbits hopping in the grass, and even a fox hiding behind a bush. Meow was excited about all the new impressions and wanted to see more. She went deeper and deeper into the forest without paying attention to the path. Suddenly, she heard a faint rustling behind a bush. She stopped and pricked up her ears. What was that? She crept closer and peered cautiously behind the branches. Then she saw a beautiful animal that she had never seen before. It was tall and slender, with brown fur with white spots and a pair of horns on its head. It nibbled on a twig and didn't seem to notice the meow. Meow was fascinated by the animal and wanted to get to know it. She emerged from her hiding place and meowed in a friendly manner. The animal raised its head and looked at Meow with wide eyes. It was a deer lost in the woods. It got startled when it saw Meow and wanted to run away. But Meow was faster and jumped in front of the deer. "Hi, I'm Meow," she said. "Who are you?" The deer trembled with fear and did not answer. "Don't worry, I won't hurt you," Meow tried to calm it down. "I'm just curious. I've never seen you. What kind of animal are you?" "I am a deer," said the deer softly. "A deer? That's interesting," said Meow. "Where do you come from?" "Out of the park," said the deer. "The park? What's that?" Meow asked. "It's a big garden with lots of trees and flowers," explained the deer. "There live a lot of deer like me." "And how did you get here?" Meow asked. "I don't know," said the deer sadly. "I got lost. I just wanted to eat something, and then I ended up in the forest. I can't find my way back." "Oh, poor you," Meow said pityingly. "That's terrible." "Yes," said the deer. "I miss my family and my friends." Meow felt her heart soften. She liked the deer, even though it was so different from her. She wanted to help him. "Listen," she said. "I have an idea. I don't know the forest that well, but I know someone who does. His name is Fido and he's a dog." "A dog?" the deer asked anxiously. "Yes, a dog," said Meow. "But don't worry, he's very nice and friendly. He's my friend." "Your friend?" the deer asked incredulously. "Yes, my friend," Meow said proudly. "We've had many adventures together. I'm sure he can show you the way to the park." "You mean well with me, but I don't trust any dog," said the deer. "But Fido is different," said Meow. "He doesn't hunt animals like you." "How can you be so sure about that?" asked the deer. "Because he promised me that," Meow said. "He told me he respects all animals and only plays when he barks and growls. He's a good dog." "That sounds too good to be true," said the deer. "Trust me," Meow said. "I would never put you in danger. Come with me, I'll show you Fido. He's probably already waiting for me." Meow took the deer by the paw and gently pulled it along. The deer was uncertain, but Meow followed. It had no choice. He hoped Meow was right and that Fido would help him. Meow and the deer made their way to the farm where Fido lived. They didn't know they were being watched. The fox that Meow had seen earlier overheard everything and secretly followed them. He had an evil plan. He wanted to catch the deer and eat it. He was just waiting for the right moment to strike. When Meow and the deer reached the farm, they saw Fido lying in front of his hut. He was a large brown dog with a black collar. He raised his head when he saw Meow and wagged his tail. "Meow, you're back," he shouted. "Who is this?" "This is my new friend," Meow said. "His name is Deer and he got lost in the woods. He's looking for the way to the park." "To the park?" Fido asked. "It's far away from here. How did you get here?" "It's a long story," said the deer. "I'm glad I met Meow. She told me you could help me." "Of course I can," said Fido. "I know the forest like the back of my hand. I can show you the shortest route." "Thank you, that's very kind." "And you," said the deer. "But before we go, you have to promise me something," said Fido. "What is it?" asked the deer. "You have to promise me that you're not afraid of me," said Fido. "I know you're a deer and I'm a dog. But I'm not a bad dog. I'm a good dog." "I believe you," said the deer. "Good," said Fido. "Let's go then." Fido got up and led the way. Meow and the deer followed him. They left the farm and headed towards the forest. The fox, hiding behind a bush, looked after them. He was angry that his plan had been foiled. He had hoped Fido would attack the deer so he could snatch it away from him. But Fido wasn't a bad dog. He was a good dog. The fox growled and ran away. He looked for another victim. Meow, the deer and Fido walked through the forest. They talked and laughed together. They became friends. After a while, they came to a clearing where a sign read, "Welcome to the park." "We did it!" Fido shouted. "Thanks, Fido," said the deer. "You have helped me a lot." "You're welcome," said Fido. "Thanks, Meow," said the deer. "You introduced me to a good friend." "You're welcome," Meow said. The three friends hugged and said goodbye to each other. The deer went to the park where it found its family again. Meow and Fido went back to the farm where they played together. They were happy. Chapter 5: The Cow with the Curly Tail. Meow has always been fascinated by the large, gentle animals that graze on the pasture. They were so different from the cats, the dogs, or the chickens she knew. They had long silky hair, big brown eyes, and huge udders pouring delicious milk. Meow wanted to know more about them, and one day decided to pay them a visit. She carefully crept up to the fence and watched the cows chewing the cud peacefully. One of them particularly caught her eye. She had white fur with black spots and a curled tail that looked like a corkscrew. Meow thought she was very pretty and wanted to get to know her better. She jumped on the fence and called out, "Hello, you beautiful cow. What's your name?" The cow raised its head and looked at Meow in surprise. She had never heard a cat speak before. She answered friendly, "Hello, you little cat. My name is Lila. And you?" "My name is Meow. I live here on the farm." "You too?" "Yes, I am a dairy cow. I give milk to the farmer and his family every day." "That's great. May I try it?" "Of course. Just come here." Meow jumped off the fence and ran over to Lila. The cow lowered her head and let Meow suck on her udder. The milk was warm and sweet and tasted delicious. Meow purred with delight. "That's delicious. Thank you, Lila." "You're welcome, Meow. You're a very nice cat. And you are a very nice cow. May I ask you something?" "Of course. What do you want to know?" "How come you have a curly tail? Only pigs usually have that." Lila laughed. "That's a long story. Would you like to hear it?" "Yes, please." "Well, once upon a time there was a little cow who was very unhappy. She was unhappy because she was different from the other cows. She had a curly tail, which she inherited from her father, who was a pig. Her mother was a cow who fell in love with a pig. The both had secretly married and had a daughter, whom they named Lila. Lila was a cute and smart cow, but she was teased and left out by the other cows. They called her Pig Cow or Curly Tail and laughed at her. Lila felt lonely and sad. She wished she had a normal tail like the other cows. One day she decided to fulfill her wish. She went to an old witch who lived in a dark forest. The witch was known to be able to perform miracles, but was also very dangerous. Lila was scared of her, but she was willing to do anything to get rid of her curly tail. She knocked on the witch's door and asked for her help. The witch opened the door and gave Lila a wicked grin. She recognized immediately what Lila wanted. "Ah, so you're the famous pig," she scoffed. "You want to get rid of your ugly curly tail, don't you?" "Yes, please," Lila said shyly. "Can you help me?" "Of course I can," said the witch. "But everything has its price. What are you willing to give me for it?" Lila thought. She didn't have much to offer. She said, "I only have my milk. It's very good and nutritious. I can give you some of that every day." The witch shook her head. "I'm not interested in your milk," she said. "I need something else from you." "What is it?" asked Lila anxiously. "Your heart," said the witch. Lila was startled. My heart, she repeated. Yes, your heart, said the witch. If you give me your heart, I will turn your curly tail into a normal cock. But you have to decide quickly, because my offer is only valid for today. Lila was desperate. She wanted to get rid of her curly tail, but she didn't want to lose her heart either. She didn't know what to do. And that's the end. Lila concluded her story. Meow was spellbound by Lila's story. She asked, and what did Lila do then? Did she give her heart to the witch? You'll find out in the next chapter, Lila said mysteriously. Oh, please go on. Meow begged. Sure, said Lila. But now we have to hurry, because it will soon be dark, and we have to get back to the farm. Okay, Meow said. But you'll come back tomorrow and tell me the next chapter, okay? I promise, said Lila. The two friends made their way to the farm. They were happy they found each other. Chapter 6: The Witch in the Forest. Meow was bored. She had chased all the mice in the barn, watched all the birds on the roof, and petted all the cows in the pasture. She wanted to experience something new, something exciting and mysterious. Then she remembered that she had never gone into the forest on the mountain behind the farm. She had heard that there were many animals there that she had never seen before: squirrels, deer, foxes, and even wolves. There was also an old tower where a witch lived. The witch was very evil, and made terrible spells that harmed people and animals. Meow was afraid of the witch, but also very curious. She decided to sneak into the forest and explore the tower. She waited until the peasant family had lunch, and then she ran. She jumped over the fence and ran into the forest. The forest was dark and silent. Meow only heard the rustling of the leaves and the cracking of the branches under their paws. She smelled many different scents: moss, mushrooms, earth, and animals. She saw many different colors: green, brown, red, and yellow. She felt like she was in another world. She ran deeper and deeper into the forest until she saw the tower. It was tall and narrow and had a pointed roof. He looked old and decrepit. Cobwebs hung from the windows and a sign hung on the door that read, "No trespassing. The witch lives here." Meow hesitated for a moment, but then overcame her fear and climbed up a windowsill. She peered through the window and saw a dark chamber with a large cauldron in the center. Inside was bubbling a green liquid that gave off a foul odor. Shelves lined the walls with jars full of strange ingredients: spider legs, toad eyes, snake fangs, and more. In a corner stood a broom with a black hat hanging from it. Meow was fascinated by the sight. Wanting to see more, she jumped through the window into the chamber. She landed quietly on the floor and crept over to the cauldron. She sniffed the liquid and winced. She smelled of rotten eggs and burnt hair. Meow wondered what the witch was doing with it. Maybe she was brewing a potion to make herself invisible or to hex someone. Suddenly she heard a voice behind her. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" Meow turned and saw the witch standing in front of her. She was short and skinny, and had a crooked nose with a wart on it. She wore a black dress with a red belt and a pointed hat on her head. In her hand she held a wand that was emitting sparks. Meow was startled and wanted to run away, but the witch was faster. She pointed her wand at Meow and shouted, "Stop! You're my guest. And you know how guests are treated, they cook them." The witch laughed maliciously and waved her wand. The cauldron jumped off the fire and floated in the air. He fell over and spilled the green liquid over Meow. Meow screamed in pain and fear. The liquid burned her fur and skin like fire. She felt herself shrinking and changing. The witch laughed even louder and said, "This is my favorite potion. It turns everything into frogs. And frogs are so delicious. I'll roast you and eat you in a moment." Meow was desperate. She was now a small green frog with big eyes and long legs. She hopped away from the cauldron, looking for a way out. She saw the window she had come through and jumped towards it. She hoped she could reach it before the witch caught her. She just managed to jump through the window and land on the windowsill. She breathed a sigh of relief and thought, "I'm saved." But she had rejoiced too soon. The witch had followed her, and was now standing on the windowsill too. She grinned evilly and said, "You didn't get away from me. I still have you." She raised her wand and was about to cast another spell at Meow. Meow didn't have time to react. She closed her eyes and waited for the end. But then something unexpected happened. A large black bird appeared out of the sky and snagged Meow with its beak. He flew away with her, leaving the witch perplexed. The witch screamed in anger and shook her wand. She shouted, "Come back. That's my frog. Give it to me." But the bird did not hear her. He flew higher and further until he came out of the forest. He took Meow to a pond near the farm. He gently dropped her into the water and said, "You are free, little frog. I saved you." Meow opened his eyes and looked at the bird. It was a crow she had often seen on the farm. She recognized her voice and said, "Thanks, Crow. You're my friend." "But I'm not. Frog. I am a cat." The crow looked at her in amazement and said, "A cat? That can't be. You look like a frog. And you croak like a frog." Meow said, "It's the witch's fault. She put a spell on me. Please help me become a cat again." The crow said, "This is a difficult task. I don't know how to undo a spell. Maybe there is a way, but I don't know it." Meow said, "Please try. I don't want to live as a frog. I want to go back home to my family and friends." The crow said, "Fine, I'll try. But I need your help. We need to work together." Meow said, "Yes, of course. What do I have to do?" The crow said, "Follow me. I'll take you to someone who might be able to help us." Chapter 7: The Rescue. Meow was desperate. She had been turned into a frog when she got too close to the wicked witch. The witch had discovered her in her tower and put a curse on her. Meow could no longer meow, only croak. She was afraid that she would never see her family and friends again. But she was lucky. The wizard Merlin, who lived nearby, had found out about her fate. He was a good and powerful magician who took care of the animals. He made his way to the witch's tower to free Meow. He found her in a pond, sadly sitting on a lily pad. He spoke softly to her, "Don't worry, little cat. I'm here to help you. I will transform you back into your true form." He carefully picked her up in his hand and murmured a spell. Meow felt her body change. She got bigger and fluffier. Her green eyes became round and clear again. She felt their whiskers and their claws. She was a cat again. She jumped from Merlin's hand with joy and hugged him gratefully. "Thank you, thank you, thank you. You saved my life. How can I ever thank you?" Meow purred happily. Merlin smiled and stroked her gently. "It was an honor to help you, Meow. You're a brave and clever cat. You don't deserve to be cursed by the witch. But be careful, she's still dangerous. Come on, I'll take you after home." Chapter 8: The Farmer. Meow was very curious about the farmer next door who fed the cows and chickens every day. She wanted to know what he was doing in his house and if he also had a cat. One day, she decided to follow him when he went to his house after milking the cows. She slipped quietly past the door and saw him pouring himself a coffee in the kitchen. He sat down at the table and took a newspaper out of his pocket. Meow smelled something delicious and spotted a basket of fresh rolls on the counter. She jumped up and sniffed a bun. It was still warm and smelled of butter. Meow couldn't resist and bit into it. The farmer heard the crunch and looked up. He was startled when he saw the little cat on his counter. "Hey, what are you doing?" he called and got up. He walked towards Meow to scare her away. Meow got scared and jumped off the counter. She ran to the door, but the farmer was faster. He grabbed her tail and lifted her up. "You're a cheeky cat," he scolded. "Where are you from? Are you one of the neighbors?" He held Meow in front of his face and looked into her eyes. Meow meowed loudly and wriggled in his hand. The farmer noticed that Meow didn't have a collar. He thought maybe she was a stray who didn't have a home. He felt a little guilty for being so rude to her. He released her and put her on the floor. "Well, you can stay," he said kindly. "But only if you behave yourself and don't steal my rolls." He gave her a piece of bread and stroked her head. Meow purred contentedly and licked his paws. She had found a new friend. Chapter 9: The Chicken. Meow was a little cat who loved to have adventures. She lived on a farm with many other animals, but her favorite animal was the chicken. The chicken was always friendly to her and shared his grains with her. Meowth loved listening to the chicken talk about the wide world it had seen on its travels. One day, Meowth decided to follow the chicken as it went out of the co-op. She wanted to see what the chicken found so exciting. She crept up behind it and saw it jump over the fence and run into the woods. Meow was curious and jumped after him. She ran through the grass and flowers until they came to a stream. There she saw something she had never seen before, a large shiny ball floating in the water. "What is that?" Meow asked the chicken. "It's a pearl," answered the chicken. "I found it a long time ago when I was by the sea. It is very valuable and beautiful. I often come here to admire it." Meowth was impressed by the pearl and wanted to take a closer look. She reached out her paw and touched it carefully. The pearl felt cool and smooth. Meow felt a strange feeling rise within her. She wanted the pearl. She wanted her to herself. "Can I have the pearl?" Meow asked the chicken. "No," said the chicken. "The pearl is mine. I found it and I love it. You can't have it." Meow got angry. She thought the chicken was selfish. Why should it keep the pearl for itself? Meow was his girlfriend after all. She deserved to have something nice too. "Please," Meow begged. "Let me have the pearl. Just for one day. I'll give it back to you tomorrow." "No," repeated the chicken. "The pearl is my treasure. I can't give it away." Meow got even angrier. She decided to steal the pearl. She waited until the chicken was distracted and grabbed the pearl with her teeth. Then she ran away as fast as she could. The chicken noticed the theft and screamed. It ran after Meow and tried to get the pearl back. But Meow was faster and smarter. She escaped from the chicken and hid in a hollow log. Meow was happy that she had the pearl. She placed it in front of her and looked at it proudly. It shone in the sunlight and shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow. "Oh, how beautiful you are," said Meow to the pearl. But then she heard a noise. It was the chicken that was looking for her. "Meow. Meow. Where are you? Give me back my pearl." Meow was startled. She didn't expect the chicken to be so stubborn. She was hoping it would give up. "Meow. Meow. Come out. You're a thief." Meow trembled in fear. She knew she had done something wrong. She knew she had hurt the chicken. But she didn't want to give the pearl back. "Meow. Meow. Be sensible. The pearl isn't yours." Meow was silent. She hugged the tree trunk and hoped the chicken wouldn't find her. But the chicken didn't give up. It continued to search for Meow and called her name. "Meow. Meow. Please. Be my girlfriend." Meow heard the sadness in the chicken's voice. She felt another feeling rise within her. It was no longer anger. It was shame. She was ashamed of what she had done. She was ashamed that she had stolen the chicken. She was ashamed that she had lost the chicken. Meow looked at the pearl. She was still beautiful. But she didn't make Meow happy anymore. She only made Meow sad. Meow understood that the pearl was not hers. She understood that she couldn't hurt the chicken. She understood that she needed the chicken. Meow took the pearl in her mouth and crawled out of the tree trunk. She saw the chicken still looking for her. She went to him and placed the pearl at his feet. "I'm sorry," Meowth said quietly. The chicken saw the pearl and then Meow. She recognized it immediately and was happy. "Meow. You're back. You gave me back my pearl. The chicken took the pearl in its beak and hugged Meow with its wings. Thank you, said the chicken happily. Meow smiled weakly. She was glad that the chicken had forgiven her. She was glad that the chicken was still her friend. Please, Meowth said gratefully. The two friends walked together from the forest back to the farm. They had the pearl with them, but they no longer needed it. They had something much more valuable, their friendship. Chapter 10 Hangover, Leo. Meow has been looking for a boyfriend for a long time. She had met many cats, but none of them had conquered her heart. She was almost in despair when one day she saw a new cat in the neighborhood. He was tall and strong, with a glossy black coat and green eyes. He sat on a fence and watched the birds with an interested look. Meow was immediately fascinated by him. She approached him cautiously and mewed at him kindly. He turned his head to her and smiled. Hello, what's your name? He asked in a deep voice. My name is Meow. And you? She answered shyly. I'm Leo. I'm new here. I've moved with my owners, he explained. That explains why I've never seen you before. Where do you live? She asked curiously. Over there, in the red house. It's quite nice, but I miss my old friends, he said a little sadly. I can understand that. But you will definitely find new friends here quickly. The other cats are very nice, she comforted him. Thanks, that's nice of you. You're very nice too. And very pretty, he complimented her. Meow felt the blood rush to her cheeks. She felt flattered and embarrassed at the same time. She didn't know what to say. She looked into his eyes and felt something stir inside her. Something she had never felt before. Something that made her happy and excited. She had fallen in love. Chapter 11 The Fish. The little cat Meow was very hungry. She hadn't eaten all day because her human family had left. She looked everywhere for something to eat, but all she found was a few crumbs and an empty milk bottle. She meowed sadly and went to the window. There she saw a small pond with many colorful fish. Her eyes widened and she jumped onto the windowsill. The fish swam happily in the water, unaware of the danger. The little cat Meow watched her closely and waited for the right moment. She stretched out her paw and tried to catch a fish. But the fish were faster and slipped under her claws. The little cat Meow got angry and slapped the fish more and more violently. She lost her balance and fell into the pond. The water was cold and wet. The little cat Meow hated water. She screamed loudly and tried to get out again. The fish were startled and quickly swam away. The little cat Meow was now even hungrier and wetter than before. She climbed out of the pond and shook herself. Then she ran back into the house and hid under the sofa. She was very unhappy and wished that her human family would come back soon. Chapter 12 How Meow Got to the Farm. The little cat Meow was very lonely. She had no one to play with and cuddle with. She lived in an old house inhabited by an evil woman who often hit and yelled at her. The woman also had a large dog that would chase Meow and bit if it caught her. Meow wished so badly that someone would love her and take care of her. One day, while the woman and the dog were gone, Meow looked out the window and saw something interesting. It was a little kid playing in the street. It had blonde curls and a happy laugh. Meow immediately felt a connection to the child. She jumped out the window and ran to him. The child was surprised when he saw the cat, but he was also happy. It reached out and gently stroked Meow's head. Meow purred with happiness. For the first time in her life, she felt safe and accepted. The kid said, "Hello, you're a cute cat. What's your name?" Meow replied with a soft meow. The child laughed and said, "That's a nice name. My name is Tim. Do you want to be my friend?" Meow nodded enthusiastically. She wanted nothing more than that. Tim took Meow in his arms and carried her to his house. He showed her his room, which was full of toys. He gave her something to eat and drink. He told her about his family, who were very nice. He said he always wanted a cat, but his parents wouldn't allow it. He asked Meow if she wanted to stay with him. Meow was overjoyed. She had finally found a boyfriend who loved and cared for her. Chapter 13, Meow, the Heroine. Meow was a little cat who lived on a farm. She was very curious and loved exploring the area. One day she smelled something strange in the air. It was a sharp, acrid smell that stung her nostrils. She followed the smell and saw that a barn was on fire. The cows, sheep, and chickens were locked in the barn. Meow knew she had to do something. She ran to the farmhouse and meowed as loud as she could. The farmer and his wife heard them and came outside. They saw the burning barn and immediately ran to save the animals. Meow followed them and helped them open the door. The animals ran out of the barn and were very grateful for Meow's help. The farmer and his wife praised Meow and called her a heroine. They gave her extra milk and cuddles. Meow was very happy and proud of herself. She had saved the farm from a great disaster. Chapter 14, The Pig. Meow was very curious about the pig she had seen on the farm. It was big and pink and made loud grunting noises. She wanted to get to know it better, but she didn't dare to go to him. She was afraid it might bite or push her. One day she decided to be brave and talk to the pig. She crept up to the stall and called out, "Hello, pig. I'm Meow, the little cat. Can I play with you?" The pig lifted its head and looked at Meow. It smiled and said, "Of course you can play with me. You may be small and delicate, but I'm sure you enjoy adventures. Also, I find cats very interesting. They are smart and skillful. Come here and let's be friends be." Meow was very happy and surprised. She had thought the pig would be unfriendly, but it was just shy and lonely. She walked up to him and sniffed his nose. She laughed and said, "You're so soft and warm. You're a very nice pig. Nice to meet you." Chapter 15, Meow in Berlin. Meow was a little cat who lived on a farm. She loved playing with the other animals and drinking the fresh milk that the farmer milked every morning. One day she saw a big truck stopping in front of the yard. The driver got out and went to the barn to collect the milk cans. Meow was curious and followed him. She jumped into the truck and sniffed at the many milk bottles that were there. She found one that wasn't quite sealed and licked it out with relish. She didn't notice the driver come back and start the truck. He drove off without noticing that he had a stowaway on board. Meow was startled by the judder and noise. She tried to get out of the truck, but the door was firmly locked. She meowed loudly, but no one heard her. She was trapped. The truck drove for hours on the freeway. Meow was getting more and more anxious and hungry. She took a few more sips of milk, but it wasn't enough to fill her stomach. She longed for her farm, for her friends, for her master. Where was she? Finally, the truck stopped. The driver got out and opened the door. Meow saw the light of day and ran out of the truck as fast as she could. She just wanted to get away from this horrible place. But when she looked around, she didn't recognize anything. She was no longer in the country but in a big city. There were houses, cars, people, and noise everywhere. Meow had never seen anything like it. She had landed in Berlin. Chapter 16, Berlin. She had never been to Berlin and wanted to see everything the city had to offer. She found a travel guide lying on the street 100 Places in Berlin by Norbert Reinwand and leafed through the pages of the book. Meow decided to go to the Brandenburg Gate first. This was Berlin's most famous landmark and a symbol of German history. Meow was struck by the size and beauty of the gate. She saw many people and other animals. Next, Meow went to the Reichstag, the seat of the German parliament. She had heard that you could climb the glass dome for a great view of the city. She used the time to chat with other cats who also came from different countries. Meow found it fascinating how many different languages and cultures there were. She rode the elevator up and entered the dome. She was overwhelmed by the sight. She could see the whole city with its many buildings, parks, rivers, and bridges. She also saw the television tower, which reached into the sky like a huge needle. Meow felt like I was on top of the world. Meow spent a while in the dome, admiring the view. Then she went back downstairs and made her way to the next destination, Checkpoint Charlie. This was the most famous border crossing between East and West Berlin during the division of Germany. Meow wanted to know more about this time, which was so different from today. Meow arrived at Checkpoint Charlie and saw a replica of the old guardhouse and turnpikes. She also saw a sign that said, "You are now leaving the American sector." Meow found that very strange. She wondered what it would have been like to live in a divided city. Meow visited the Wall Museum, which was nearby. There she saw many photos, documents and objects that told about the history of the Berlin Wall. She also saw some examples of attempts to escape from East Berlin, such as balloons, tunnels, or cars. Meow was fascinated by the stories of people and animals seeking their freedom. Meow left the museum with a sense of respect and gratitude. She was glad that the wall had fallen and that Berlin was once again an open and lively city. She decided to see more of Berlin and made her way to Alexanderplatz. She roamed around Berlin for a few days and then went to the main train station. Chapter 17: Meow while traveling. Meow has always been a curious cat. She loved exploring new places and going on adventures. One day she decided that she wanted to see the world and made her way to the main train station in Berlin. Once there, she marveled at the crowds hurrying back and forth, the trains whistling in and out, and the loudspeakers announcing destinations. Meow felt her heart beat faster. She really wanted to get on a train and go. She snuck past a conductor and jumped onto the first train she saw. It was an ice to Bamberg. Meow had no idea where Bamberg was, but she didn't care. She chose an empty seat and made herself comfortable. She looked out the window and saw the countryside roll past her. She saw green meadows, high mountains, deep forests, and sparkling rivers. She also saw other cities, such as Leipzig, Erfurt, and Coburg. Meow was fascinated by all the different impressions. She wondered what to expect in Bamberg. Would she meet other cats there? Would she find something tasty to eat there? Would she have fun there? Meow couldn't wait to arrive. She was sure that Bamberg was a wonderful place. Chapter 18: Meow in Bamberg. Meow was very excited when she got off the train. She had never seen Bamberg. At the train station, she meets another cat named Emma. Meow looked around and saw Emma waving. She ran to her and hugged her. "Hello, I'm Meow. I'm so glad I'm here." Meow shouted. "Hello, Meow. I'm so happy too. Come on, I'll show you the city," said Emma. Emma led Meow through the narrow streets of Bamberg, which were full of old houses and churches. She showed her the cathedral, the town hall, and the old bridge over the river. Meow was amazed by the beauty and charm of the city. They also went to a cafe and ate delicious cakes and drank hot chocolate that some people gave them. They talked about all sorts of things. They realized that they had a lot in common and that they got along very well. They laughed a lot and had fun. Meow was very happy that she had found Emma. She felt at home in Bamberg and was looking forward to the next few days with her new friend. Chapter 19: Meow and Emma in Bamberg. Meow was happy to have finally arrived in Bamberg. She wanted to see and experience everything that Bamberg had to offer. But most of all, she wanted to find a new home where she could feel safe and loved. Emma was a friendly and helpful cat who immediately took to Meow. She knew Bamberg well and showed Meow the most beautiful places. They walked together over the old bridges, admired the half-timbered houses and the cathedral, sniffed the flowers on the market, and listened to the chimes of the town hall. Emma also told Meow about the people in Bamberg, who were very fond of animals. She said there were many families who would like to adopt a cat. They just had to find the right one that suited them. Emma had tried several times to find a new home, but she had always been disappointed. People didn't treat them well or gave them away after a short time. That's why Emma had become cautious and didn't trust people so easily. Meow understood Emma very well. She had been through a lot of bad things and knew what it was like to be alone and unwanted. She felt a deep bond with Emma and decided to help her find a new home. She told Emma that they would stick together and that they would not give up on each other. They weren't just two cats that were in Bamberg. They were friends. Chapter 20: A New Home. Meow and Emma have been looking for a new home for a long time. They longed for a place where they could be free and live happily. One day they heard from a farm in the Hasberg district that was looking for cats to catch the mice. They decided to try their luck and set off. They had to walk many kilometers over fields and meadows, through forests and villages. They were hungry and thirsty, afraid and hopeful. But they didn't give up because they had each other. When they finally reached the farm, they were greeted by a friendly man who gave them some milk and fodder. He introduced himself as Farmer Franz and told them that he had many animals: cows, pigs, chickens, sheep, dogs, and horses. He said he would like to have some more cats to help him with pest control. He asked them if they wanted to stay. Meow and Emma looked at each other and immediately felt that this was the place they were looking for. They purred in agreement and snuggled up to the farmer. He smiled and took her in his arms. He led them into the house, where he showed them a cozy basket that he had prepared for them. He told them that this was their new home and that he would take good care of them. Meow and Emma were overjoyed. They had finally found a new home where they were loved and where they could be useful. They thanked the farmer with a loud meow and snuggled up in their basket. They fell asleep and dreamed of their new life on the farm in the Hasberg district. Final word: you can find more books by Norbert Reinwand on Amazon. Also visit the homepage of the HassenChat audiobooks label at https://hassenchat.net. Best regards, Norbert Reinwand. Also visit us at Amazon Music and listen to HassenChat music for free.